Good morning and welcome to the regularly scheduled meeting of the Board of Public Works for Wednesday, September the 11th, 2019.
Commissioner Garcia, Davis, and Caloza are present. President Pro Tem, you do have a quorum. May we start with Bureau introductions, please, starting with Bureau of Street Services.
Good morning, Sherman Torres, Bureau of Street Services.
Good morning, Victor Tercios, Bureau of Street Lighting.
Good morning, Brad Jensen, Bureau of Engineering.
Good morning, Hee-Sang Kim, Bureau of Sanitation.
Good morning, Seffi Wiles, Bureau of Contract Administration.
Good morning, Ted Jordan, Public Works General Counsel.
Fernando Campos, Executive Officer. President Pro Tem, we do not have any speaker cards under general public comment. We also do not have any commentary under the Neighborhood Council comment section. No speaker cards were received for any of the items for today's regular agenda.
Hearing and seeing no speaker cards on general public comments or the neighborhood commentary, I want to first order of business is to have a moment of silence for the anniversary of September the 11th, 2011, 18 years ago, when we lost not only first responders but many outstanding citizens who worked every day in the New York Trade Center, where we had the tragedy that not only was a tragedy to America, but it was an international tragedy around the world. And as we begin our meeting, I would just simply like for us to have one moment of silence in commemoration, not in commemoration, but in consolation for, condolence rather, for this anniversary of the tragedy that occurred on September 11th, 2011. Thank you. And with that, I'd like to start off with our first order of business, the approval of the minutes. May I have a second to my motion on the approval of the minutes for August 26, 2019 and August 28, 2019, seconded by Commissioner Garcia. So moved. Next is the first order of business, which are bids. Executive Officer.
Thank you, Mr. President Pro Tem. Fernando Campos, Executive Officer. Item number 1 is the bids to be received today at 10 a.m. for the Silver Lake Boulevard Underpass Sidewalk and Arches project. This is in Council District number 13. The city has estimated this project to be at $632,264 even. I am reporting today that we did not receive any bids, therefore there's no bids to be opened, declared, or received by this board.
Thank you. Next leads us to item number 2 in CD1, revised finding Albion Riverside Park project, recommending the board 1, approve the updated funding table for the project, WOEW 4060F, E 1907692. Neil Drucker, is he available?
Good morning, Commissioners. Neil Drucker, Bureau of Engineering. The Bureau of Engineering recommends approval of the updated funding table as per the board report in front of you. Just to let you know, the Albion project is complete. It was open to the public on June 30th, 2019. I was there as recently as last weekend. We had a family event downtown and went right by the park, and I actually watched from the bridge next door, and it was amazing how many kids are using the park. Basically, in March of 2019, we came to your board and asked for authority to increase the contingency on the project. Your board approved it at that time. However, a number of the funds were identified as TBD, to be determined, because the fund and account numbers had not been established at that time. The funding table on page 2 is the actual final funding table and includes all the fund and account numbers. We haven't added any additional funds or anything like that. We're not asking for additional funds. We just identified the actual fund and account numbers so that accounting can go ahead and process the final change orders and closeout change order for the project. We recommend approval. Thank you. Any questions?
And the contractor proposed is Sully Miller?
Repeat that, I'm sorry.
who's the prime contractor on this?
Sully Miller is the prime contractor, and they've done a very good job, and I think they've been very reasonable on their change order requests and the final negotiated change orders in every case.
Great. Any concerns or questions from commissioners? Hearing and seeing none, may I have a second to my motion to accept item number 2? It's seconded by Commissioner Colosa, and that will be the order forthwith. Thank you. Item number 3, all council districts. Resolution inviting bids, crisis and bridge housing projects, pre-qualified on-call lists. Recommending the board, 1, authorize the city engineer to advertise via the Los Angeles Business Assistant Virtual Network the crisis and bridge housing projects to the municipal facilities pre-qualified contractors list without approval of administrative item on the board agenda that releases the project advertisement, and then provide an oral update to the board. 2, waive the business inclusion program for all CBH projects. 3, waive the mandatory subcontracting minimum for all CBH projects. 4, not apply the local business preference program for all CBH projects. And 5, authorize the city engineer to request, if necessary, a special meeting agenda item or the board to award the contract. Presenting is Alan Kawaguchi. Alan is here, right? Oh, Eddie, audience here.
Good morning, Eddie Ohanian from Bureau of Engineering. We are here to request the authority to expedite the advertisement and award of the crisis and bridge housing projects to contractors on the municipal facilities and related projects pre-qualified contractors list. Ordinarily, Bureau Engineering would advertise projects on the pre-qualified contractor list just like regular bid and award process. This process takes approximately 5 months to complete. This is from the date the project is advertised and from the date the project is awarded. However, due to urgency of the homelessness and the crisis and bridge housing projects, BOE was asked to identify ways to streamline the process and shorten the bid and award phase. With doing so, we identified these 5 items that you just read that would streamline the process. So with the use of pre-qualified on-call contract and advertising the city engineers to advertise on BAVN without approval of the board as administrative item and award the contract as a special meeting agenda item, and the 3 waivers, which is 1, to waive business inclusion program for CBH projects, waive the mandatory subcontracting minimum for CBH projects, and not to apply local business preference program to CBH projects. We believe that we can shorten the bid and award phase from its regular 5 months process then to 2.5 months process. So this would help expedite the process of awarding contract for this very, very important urgent projects.
Great. And certainly realizing the urgency of having to make some action happen as it relates to the homeless problem that we have today, I think that the board sincerely supports moving forward to make sure that we can, in fact, be able to build those houses. I think Commissioner Carloza has some questions.
Not a question, but just a comment that just to thank BOE, our partners at ConAd and other agencies involved for really looking at our internal process and figuring out where we can expedite this project that is of critical importance, and what the city can continue to do to address homelessness is important to the board, to the mayor, to our city council. So, I know that, typically we wouldn't do this and this is not our typical process, but this is, again, of urgent necessity. And maybe just a quick, for verbal confirmation as well. It's in the board report, but for the city attorney, Ted, could you also confirm, has your team reviewed what's been proposed, and do you concur with BOE's recommendation?
Yes, I concur with the Bureau's recommendation. I've reviewed it, so I have no problems.
Great, thank you. Thanks.
Thank you.
So I think that can I accept that as a second to my motion?
Sure.
We accept
I was
this
going to
item?
move, but yes.
Okay, all right. Okay, we have a second to my motion, and with that, that will be so ordered forthwith. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you very much.
Item number 4, joint report, all CDs. Contract amendment number 1, sidewalk repair program, pre-qualified on-call list. Recommending the board, 1, approve and forward this report with transmittals to the mayor requesting the following. A, approve amendment number 1 to each of the contracts between the City of Los Angeles and the 30 pre-qualified on-call contractors included in the small sidewalk repair services contracts to increase the total contract term from 3 years to 5 years. And B, authorize the president or 2 members of the board to execute amendment number 1 for each small sidewalk repair services contract. Robert Vega presenting.
Good morning. Robert Vega, Program Manager for the Bureau of Engineering Sidewalk Repair Program. As noted, this is a request to approve amendment number 1 to increase the contract term from 3 to 5 years for each of the 30 pre-qualified on-call contractors included in the small sidewalk repair services contract. In the way of background, on October 21st, 2016, the board authorized the city engineer to administer the contracts for on-call small sidewalk construction and repair services and assign work packages to the list of 35 pre-qualified on-call contractors. The intent of these contracts are to give small contractors an opportunity to work as prime contractor in city projects and help them grow their contracting businesses, to partner with the Transitional Job Opportunities Program, and to quickly provide sidewalk repair services based on a rotating basis. The maximum amount of any work package issued is $100,000, and contractors are allowed to work on a maximum of 2 work packages per year. However, the city can increase the maximum number per year. 35 contractors were originally approved for this program, and the current contract expires on October 27th, 2019. 30 contractors have chosen to continue with the program, and it is therefore requested to amend their contract for 2 additional years. The 2-year amendment will allow sufficient time for the development of a new list of pre-qualified on-call contractors and to allow for continuity in sidewalk construction and repairs. As of August 19th of this year, 2019, 27 contractors have been offered packages and 19 have accepted the work. We have also had 5 contractors, as part of the work, install alternative materials as part of the project, and that included rubber and porous concrete pavers. One of our other programs in the division, our Street and Stormwater Division, has also issued 4 work packages for the sidewalk repairs requested and funded by Council District 14. And it is the intent of the sidewalk repair program to issue 10 additional packages in this fiscal year. Funding will be provided for individual work packages from the Sidewalk Repair Fund and from the SB1 Road Maintenance and Rehabilitation Fund. This concludes my report, and I'm ready to answer any questions you may have.
Well, first I want to thank you, Mr. Vega, for this presentation, and to say that particularly I am a big fan and advocate of this effort that you have done for the last 3 years. And I believe it reflects the values that the mayor has expressed in his back to basic principles, particularly as it relates to providing jobs for all of Los Angeles. And as is noted in the motion, this proposal in and of itself has impacted all of the council districts while empowering small businesses. And certainly I think it is to the credit of our entire city to expand this from 3 to 5 years. So I thank you for the work, and I am just elated at this proposal in terms of your success in the past and the promise that it brings us for the future. Any other comments? May I have a second to my motion to accept this item? Seconded by Commissioner Garcia, and with that so ordered, forthwith.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next is item 5, impacting all CDs, contract amendment number 1, architectural and related professional services pre-qualified on-call list, recommending the board, 1, approve and forward this report with transmittals to the mayor and city council requesting the following. A, approve amendment number 1, increasing the total contract term for 5 years up to 10 years to each of the contracts between the City of Los Angeles and the following 20 firms: AC Martin Partners Incorporated, CO 124786, Architerve Incorporated, doing business as Studio Polyfacchetti, Architects, CO 124802, Brooks Scopper Architects Incorporated, CO 124703, Eric Owens Moss Architects, CO 125148, Gonzalez Goodall Architects, CO 124803, Gruen Associates, CO 124702, Gwen Pugh Urban Studio Incorporated, CO 124700, HMC Architects, CO 124787, IBI Group, formerly Tetra IBI Group, CO 124701, John Freeman Alice Kim Architects Incorporated, CO 124801, Lear Architects LA Incorporated, CO 124698, M. Arthur Gensler Jr. and Associates Incorporated, CO 124805, Paul Murdoch Architects, APC, CO 124804, Perkins and Will Incorporated, CO 124699, Pfeiffer Partners Architects Incorporated, CO 124799, Rio Clemente Hale Studios, CO 124705, Roto Architects Incorporated, CO 124800, the SLAM Collaborative, formerly Frank R. Webb Architects Incorporated, CO 125922, SMA Incorporated, doing business as Soprano and Mooney Architecture, CO 124704, Zentin Architecture, CO 125923. B, authorize the President and 2 members of the Board of Public Works to execute Amendment 1. Presenting on this item is Mr. Neil Drucker. Oh, wait, I'm sorry, Neil. Excuse me for that. We do have a speaker, Mr. Arnold Sachs, on that motion.
Yes, thank you. Good morning. I wasn't actually going to speak on any of these items, but I had second thoughts. Actually, these are 3 of the worst items I've ever seen on any agenda. This is the problem with the city. You lock people out of business, they can't do business with the city. If these companies are so well respected, and I'm sure they are, then a 5-year list on any kind of list for the city work is more than adequate. To double the time that they're on the list essentially shuts everybody out of city work. That's not right. People come to the city looking to get contracts, and you're going to have the mayor, or the mayor's going to sign these items on your agendas that essentially shut off the city for any small business that comes in and wants to do some business. And it locks in these contractors, whether they do good work or not. This is a 5-year contract. The last one was a 3-year contract. And the one before that, I didn't even know the list existed for the virtual network. Who knows about a virtual network? Unless you have ins with the city or the city council or somebody who knows somebody who knows somebody. These are terrible items, and you should either continue them, or if you're going to pass them with prejudice. You know, in the movie Saving Private Ryan, the leader of the crew, the crew that was going to look for Private Ryan, his famous line was, "Gripes go up, they don't come down." If you have a problem with the system, and you hear people complaining about the system, fix the system. Don't fix
2
the
minutes.
griper. Thank you.
Mr. Drucker.
Thank you, Commissioner. Good morning, Neil Drucker again, Bureau of Engineering. As Commissioner Davis indicated, the Bureau of Engineering is recommending that the board approve the Bureau of Engineering's pre-qualified on-call architectural list. As you stated, we have 20 consultant firms on the list. They have been doing a very good job working on a lot of major projects. Just to let the board know, we've actually issued $29 million worth of work under these contracts for a total of 55 individual tosses or major projects. 36 of those are currently in progress, including a number of major projects, including the LA Civic Center building right across the street, ongoing, and completing demolition of Parker Center and the future LA Civic Center building, Rancho Cienega Recreation Center, a number of equivalently large projects that are in design right now. First in Broadway Park, right across the street, next to Grand Park, as well as the Pershing Square Park redevelopment, which is currently in design. Just to let the board know, a number of these contracts, in fact 8 out of the 20, expire September 23rd, 2019, so we are asking this report be approved forthwith, because we will need to get it to both council and the mayor's office to get their approval before we're able to execute these contracts, and we don't want any of those important projects to be delayed or hampered by lack of architectural services if these contracts do expire. Just to let the board know, and in sort of answer to Mr. Sachs's comments, as I said, we have 20 firms. Through the 55 tosses, we've had more than 300 sub-consultant opportunities throughout all those projects, and in fact, as recently as 2 days ago and this morning, we had requests to add additional subs. So we added to our Vision Theater, our Engine Company number 23 project, we added a WB historic architect to help us with the curation of all the historic materials. And I was just asked this morning on another project to add a WBE firm to do some planning assistance, Deborah Murphy and Co. So unlike what Mr. Sachs says, we don't lock people out. We do bring additional consultants in on an as-needed basis on all 20 of these contracts when the specific project requires assistance. So for example, a number of the projects under this program are pools. Most of the consultants originally did not include pool sub-consultants in their proposals, and therefore when we went out with our first pool project under this contract, we asked that they add a pool sub-consultant, and each of the firms went out and did a full BIP analysis or process to try and bring in a sub-consultant that was either MBE, WBE, or equivalent. And I think the firms have done an excellent job. And just to let you know, the original consultant contract did have anticipated participation levels through the BIP, and I think our consultants have done a really good job. We've received approximately 14.5% MBE, or excuse me, achieved, not received, achieved approximately 14.5% MBE, over 5% WBE, 18% small business, 7.26% EBE, emerging business enterprises, just under 1% disadvantaged veterans business enterprises, and almost 20% of other business enterprise. So I think we've done a very good job.
How much did you say in disadvantaged business enterprises?
Just under 1%, 0.94%. And that's the one that's been probably the toughest for our consultants. And we have tried to work with them, and we will continue working with both them and Bureau of Contract Administration. In looking recently, and I've checked the list myself recently, there are very few DVBE registered or certified consultants out there. So that's something we do want to continue working on and figuring out how we can bring more DVBE firms into the city's fold.
So obviously, when we have federal work that demands and compels us to have DBE and minority business enterprises, and yet when we have our locally funded projects, perhaps that's the area that we really want to measure in terms of how well we've been able to achieve diversity and business inclusion in that area. And I don't know if we know the separate measurement in terms of what we've been able to accomplish on locally funded projects as opposed to the federally funded projects that compel us to have diversity. Do you happen to know?
I don't have that information in front of me, but it's certainly something we can get
and
bring back to this commission.
That's fine. I'd like to see that. And additionally, in terms of the inclusion of other architectural firms as a practice within the Bureau, are there other projects that we have where architects can compete aside from this list that we're preparing?
Occasionally one does come up, some of our design build projects that we go out with a bridging document. We then go out with a design build project, and the general contractors who bid on those sometimes bring in architectural firms or civil engineering firms to assist them in the design process. But generally for most of our projects, we use these on-call lists whenever possible.
In terms of the makeup of the particular individuals that are part of this list, are there by any chance any women or minorities firm included in this particular list?
I believe, the general contractor or the prime consultants?
Yes, sir.
I don't believe that any of the private consultants are actually certified as MBE, WBE, or even if they are, their certification would not in effect count. However, a number of the firms, the partners or the owners are WBE or MBE themselves.
Or subs.
Actually, even the primes, they
I see what you're saying.
meaning it may be a women-owned business enterprise, but because they're prime, they don't really get the credit under our BIP program. And Deborah, I think,
Deborah, thank you.
Add more to that.
Good morning, Commissioners. Deborah Weintraub from the Bureau of Engineering. Because the certification for the primes doesn't count towards our accounting, but I do know Brooks and Scarpa is a male and female run firm.
Wonderful.
They're both two partners. I'm just going down the list. John Freeman, Alice Kim, the same male-female partners. Paul Murdoch, the same male-female partners. X10 is a female-run firm. Serrano Mooney, male-female partners. So there's good participation, even at the principal level, of women-owned businesses in our list. And
now, in terms of the profession itself of architecture and architectural engineering, is there a shortfall of minority firms in general?
Yes, there is.
Okay.
There is a shortfall.
Yeah, and I hope as we look for our vision, and this is in everything we do, it would be my hope that as we move forward in years to come, that we will have women and minority firms as a part of the prime contractor on-call list. That certainly would be my personal vision, and I would hope moving forward it would be the vision of the Bureau too, as we begin to think about our own potential and our own leadership in terms of what we can do as a city with international impact. And that certainly would provide the kind of leadership that would say something about municipalities in this country when we could have on our very on-call list women or a minority or minority firms as a part of that. And I do realize the barrier and the mountain you have to climb, given the fact that there are not many of such firms in the market. But yet, again, I always think that this is a great opportunity to have that discussion about our future vision as we move forward. So thank you, Deborah, so much for those points.
Yeah, so I personally totally support that
Yes.
effort, and I think Neil, I'm not sure if he mentioned that we will be creating a new list, so we will have an opportunity. This allows us to bridge current work ongoing with the creation of the new list. So we will have that opportunity to give that message to the consulting community. I would also slightly amend Neil's answer to you about other opportunities.
Sure.
Sometimes through our civil projects, they have the need of an architect, and that might be someone completely different from who's on this list. So there are opportunities to participate that way.
Great. And I have the greatest appreciation for the fact that you have looked at the opportunities that exist among the subcontracting community on these projects and making sure that our primes are sensitive to that.
Yes.
Because again, this is a part of the vision that the mayor has when he says jobs in Los Angeles for all of Los Angeles. That's
Right.
best realized through making sure that our prime contractors help us enact that vision. So thank you so very much for doing that.
Right. So the last request is if we could send this forthwith, just because of our time frame.
Sure.
Thank you.
Sure, not
Yeah.
a problem. Commissioners, any questions or concerns? Commissioner Caloza.
Thank you, President Pro Tem. And this is just maybe just additional clarification, for anybody listening. I know Mr. Sachs left, but he had, raised a question about access to the LA Bavin and that virtual network, but maybe you can briefly describe what that is, who has access to it, kind of a little bit about a snapshot of our procurement process.
Sure.
For the
I will try. I know we have Sefi and others from BCA who may know more than me, but basically the Mayor's Business Assistant Virtual Network is actually the system that we use to bid and award all projects, whether it's general contractor type project or consultant, pretty much citywide, not only the Bureau of Engineering or Department of Public Works, but it's used citywide. We work with all of our consultant teams and all the contractors that we are aware of to bring them into the Bavin system. They register on Bavin, and they can check boxes depending on what their expertise is, architecture, engineering, wastewater, whatever it is. And based on the boxes that they check, they will actually get notified anytime a request for proposal or request for bid or equivalent is available pretty much anywhere in the city. We meet through Bureau of Contract Administration on a regular basis with consultants and contractors to teach them about the system and try and give them information about the opportunities to consult or contract with the city. And we strongly encourage them at those meetings to register for Bavin as soon as possible, because that gives them complete information. The other benefit of registering is once you've registered and bid for one project, you don't have to keep filling out the forms over and over again. Those are kept by the system, and you just have to make changes based on the specific project. So it really helps the contractors and consultants who bid on projects with the city, because they have a standard format that's pretty much the same, which no matter which department they're bidding for. So it's a really good system that we use on a daily basis to check our own projects, see what contractors have signed up to receive plans, so we know about how many contractors are interested or consultants are interested in the project. It also enables sub-consultants to see what contractors or prime consultants are interested, so they can contact them directly and say, hey, I'd like to be part of your team. So, unless you have any questions, I think that's at least a basic overview.
Thank you. That was a very thorough explanation of LA Bavin. I'm sure Conrad would be proud. But thank you for adding that to the record, and just for anyone listening for their awareness.
We're going to be counting on the work of our prime contractors here and their work with our subs in this community and their inclusion. With that, can I receive a second to my motion to accept this item? Okay, seconded by Commissioner Garcia. And with that, so ordered forthwith. Next item is item 6, CD4, AFE, CD14, AFE Ozone Clean Technologies Incorporated. Bureau of Sanitation and Office of Accounting request board approval and execution for an authority for expenditure in the amount of $45,000 for a pilot program in which Bureau of Sanitation utilized the services of Ozone Clean Technologies for cleanup and disinfecting services utilizing ozonation in Skid Row for 6 weeks. Services provided include the rental of an Ozone Clean Technologies trailer system, and the cleanup and disinfection was carried out by the Bureau of Sanitation personnel. The city shall pay to the vendor the amount not to exceed $90,000. This AFE will provide half of the funding, $45,000. AE 207-607-60M, Fund Number 760, Sewer Construction and Maintenance Fund, Department 50, Appropriation Unit Number 50RX82. Presenting Gabriel Miranda. Or anyone presenting for the Bureau of Sanitation on item number 6?
I don't see anyone present, but this is for work that was already done in June and July of this year. Hee-Sang Kim from Bureau of Sanitation.
Okay.
So this AFE was briefed in last fiscal year on May 1st. So it was going to be presented to the board in last fiscal year, but due to some delays in paperwork, it was delayed until this time, new fiscal year. This, I believe, was already pre-approved by the board during the briefing. For some work is already done.
Sure. Okay, Commissioner Garcia.
Thank you, President Pro Tem. I do have questions about this, and I was hoping that the appropriate person would be here for that.
Yes,
I want to hold it. Yeah. I have
okay.
questions on the performance, the scope, and are we moving forward with it? Those are the type of questions. So
we'll come back.
Yeah, I think we're going to hold it until we get a
Thank you.
proper presentation.
Okay, great. Thank you. And so we'll hold that to the next meeting, or we'll hold it for a week, or?
We can
Executive
hold it
officer?
for 1 week. Let me look at the calendar really quick. We have
Maybe next Wednesday?
next Wednesday is an off-site meeting in Council District 9 at the California Science Center, so recommendation would be to continue it to Friday, September 20th.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Next will be item number 7, CD 14, AFE American Restore. Bureau of Sanitation and Office of Accounting request board approval and execution of an authority for expenditure in the amount of $32,568 for installation of a 379.5 square foot, 1 1/2 average thickness EcoFloor 404 topping system to restore a portion of the existing tipping floor at Central Los Angeles Recycling and Transfer Station. AE 2047R614M, Fund Number 47R, Central Los Angeles Recycling Transfer Station Trust Fund, Department Number 50, Appropriation Unit 50SX82. Presenting John Hamilton.
Good morning, John Hamilton, Bureau of Sanitation. The board approved this work in June of 2019 for the exact same amount. When we went out there on a Friday, June 29th, to do the work, the area was much larger than originally estimated, and we found another area that also needed to be covered by this coating. So this was, just to refresh your memory, this was an area in the Clark's transfer station, which was over a hauling tunnel, and it had collapsed in 2011. So it was very urgent that we cover the area, and we thought that the money, as we went out there, we negotiated with the contractor a lower price per square foot in the field, and we went ahead and spent the extra money on the extra floor area that we needed to treat at the Clark's.
Okay, any questions, commissioners? No questions and concerns. May I receive a second to my motion to accept this item? Seconded by Commissioner Caloza. With that, the motion is so ordered forthwith. Thank you very much, Mr. Hamilton. Next is item number 8, CD All, AFE, South Coast Air Quality, Bureau of Street Services and Office of Accounting request board approval and execution of an authority for expenditure in the amount of $40,000 to South Coast Air Quality to encumber funds for fiscal year 2019-2020 to pay for the annual operating and emissions fees and permits associated with asphalt plants and other facilities. AE 2000-000-14M, Fund Number 100, General Fund, Department Number 86, Appropriation Unit 006010, presenting is Jojo Hung.
Good morning, Commissioner.
Morning.
Everyone. This is Jojo Hung from Street Services. Street Services would like to request an AFE in the amount of $40,000 to California State South Coast Air Quality Management District to pay for the annual fee and permit associated with our 2 asphalt plants and other concrete recycling sites.
Okay, thank you. Any questions or concerns? Hearing and seeing none, may I receive a second to my motion to accept item number 8? Commissioner Garcia. And with that, that item will be so ordered forthwith.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next is item number 9, CD 13, AFE State Water Resources Control Board. Bureau of Sanitation and Office of Accounting request board approval and execution of an authority for expenditure in the amount of $117,487 for the annual National Pollutant Discharge Elimination Systems and stormwater fees as required by the state of California. State Water Resources Control Board, a state regulatory agency per California Water Code Section 13260. These annual fees are required in order to discharge the processed wastewater produced by the Glendale Water Reclamation Plant. This authority is requested for the period covering July 1st, 2019 through June 30th, 2020. AE 207-605-90M, Fund Number 760, Sewer Operation and Maintenance, Department Number 50, Appropriation Number 50SX82, presenting Don Jimenez. Or is there anyone else presenting?
Well, this is Hisang Kim again from Bureau of Sanitation. I can present. This is the NPDES fee that all the wastewater treatment plants that discharge the treated water to receiving water within the state of California. Los Angeles Glendale Water Reclamation Plant treats around 18 million gallons per day of wastewater, and some are recycled, and probably around 75% is discharged to Los Angeles River. This AFE for $117,487 is to pay for the annual NPDES fee plus some stormwater-related fees. And the fee has been gone up quite high in last few years, about 10% per year. In fact, Hyperion will be here on Friday to ask for about $650,000.
Okay.
So this is similar fee for that, and I don't see any problem paying this to the state.
Great. Any other concerns or questions? Commissioner Garcia.
Thank you, President Pro Tem. Why is there a reason of the increase? Is it just, are they setting that increase, or is it the usage, the increase?
So the state, within certain flow categories, for example, 0 to 10 million gallons per day, I'm not exactly sure where they cut it. You know, there's so much. And then from 10 to our next 50 mgd, million gallons per day, there's certain annual fee, which is set by the state, which city doesn't really have much control.
Got it. Okay, thank you.
So I think that's a motion by Commissioner we have another question, excuse me, on that one. It will be Commissioner Carloza.
Thank you, President Pro Tem. I just had a question. Is it, notice here that it says that sanitation's requesting authority for the period covering July 1, 2019 through June 30, 2020. Is it common for sanitation to request for authority after the covered periods have started?
This AFE is to pay for all the invoices from state sent to the LA sanitation within this fiscal year. There will be about at least two, maybe 3 or 4 invoices. One is for the treatment and effluent discharge. Another one is for stormwater management within the facility. There could be 1 or 2 more, depending on how the permits are issued. So did I?
Or did you have something to add for City Attorney?
Yes, first of all, it's an excellent question. My recommendation is, since these are a regulatory agency, that you act on this today, and request the Bureau to come and brief you on the answer to your question about, why are we paying today when the period covered started earlier in the year.
Yeah.
However, as staff has indicated, it sounds like we're going to have a similar item coming soon, maybe even on Friday for Hyperion. And so I am assuming sanitation will have a representative here to talk about that one. And they may be able to answer your question, at that. So that would be my recommendation. Unfortunately, I don't have an answer to your question.
Okay, I
But it was a
appreciate
good
it. Yeah, if, maybe we can set up a briefing in for anybody else who's curious about that. I just wasn't sure if that was common practice or, but, yeah, I guess we can just set up something offline. Okay?
Okay, we have a motion by Commissioner.
Sure, I just want to add, sorry about this. This is for sanitation. I don't know if the calendars got mixed up or what happened, but maybe we can let them know that they were on the agenda and we needed the presenters to be here, present. Thank you.
Sure.
Okay, so I will second Commissioner Garcia's motion to accept this item, and that will be so ordered forthwith. And also, I'd like to acknowledge one of our additional interns who've joined our office from the Choral Fellows Program, and that is Willow Higgins. She's been observing patiently there. Thank you so much, Willow. We look forward to working with you this month. Yeah, thank you. Executive Officer, have we cleared the desk?
Yes, you have.
Okay, the meeting for September 11, 2019 is so adjourned. Thank you.